Hey there everybody, welcome back to the 9th exciting mission of Trapt. Last time we managed to totally annihilate the faux Irish fiend known as Finnegan, and we now found ourselves in a brand new area, and holy shit, we are going to have to kill even more people than we have ever had to murder before. And there are quite a few interesting stories here. Glenn has been looking for person that murdered his lover, and he assumes that maybe it's somewhere hidden in the forces of Hertzog. We also have a rather mouthy fire mage who annoys and tries to get into fights with everyone, including us. We have a scout who loves Finnegan, and sadly she doesn't yet know that we impaled him on a clock, so she might be fairly let down. We also have a bow knight who was formerly the daughter of a blacksmith and wishes to show off her fancy new bow by trying to impale us with arrows. We have Adolphus, who apparently was supposed to get into business, but instead he had a knack for killing more. We have Irene here, a rather bland priestess, married to Gabrielle. I'm not sure who that is. I don't remember if we've ever fought a Gabriel. We also find Illuminado, who apparently helped to kill or take prisoner Grains and kill him. We also have an assassin that hates women. And we have a lover of women here, Raymond. Got into rather nasty trouble because he kept on hitting on all the females. Also have Oliver here, who wishes for the fiend to be resurrected so that his sister can be reborn as a demon, I guess. And Demanin, I don't even know how to pronounce that, but he is the baking genius. We will bake him some cookies of retribution. And I think Hamilton is the last guy. Or maybe not. Yeah, I think, he was the last one. Another fiend worshipper that wishes for evil to reign supreme, I guess. But with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get this rather long mission started.
Hime! 古城はカタリーナに占領されてしまったようです。ただ、敵兵の多くは城外に逃げ出した者を追撃して出払っているとのこと。城が手薄なうちに私はカタリーナを探します。アリシア様は地下牢へ行き、捕虜にされた兵がいないか確認してきてください。今は少しでも戦力が必要です。それではまた後ほど。
Seriously, Chase, why do you keep on leaving Allura alone? She just immediately gets ambushed. I mean, relatively speaking, she's been fine on her own, but still, it just seems, I guess, discourteous. But we do find ourselves in a brand new area of the game overall. This is the old mansion. We are in the room I think is called the entrance. There are quite a few returning traps here, such as the flame spout and the black torches and the powder chest. But there are a few new traps in here that we will be showing off. Especially the wall spikes. I do enjoy the wall spikes. But we also do have a few new traps to show off. We're actually almost completely out of traps, but we have seen the Hellfire before. I probably didn't get to show it off as much as I wanted to, but I think it might be kind of ironic to use it against the Fire Mage, especially since this particular Fire Mage is massively annoying because she seems to have even more abilities than we've seen before. Yeah, I'm going to try to use the wall spikes here. The Hellfire is a bit hard to determine where it's actually going to launch, guys. I'm still just dreadful at hitting people due to the perspective with Punisher. But yeah, this particular fire mage, Selena, actually has a homing fire attack. She also has this call down fire that's really difficult to see, which is that. But this actually starts out fairly simple enough. You don't get too overwhelmed, and relatively speaking, Glenn really wasn't that difficult to take down, and neither is Selena if I can actually hit her with the trap. But as you saw there, I was able to launch Glenn with the Punisher straight into Hellfire, and God, I hate that attack. It is just amazingly difficult to actually get away from. And I wish I could say that the Fire Mage was the most annoying type of mage we'll deal with, but well, we still have a few more to get through, and they get really tedious. Not to say that this isn't tedious, but I think it is time to try to set up another trap. Especially with this large central area here. It gives me a chance to show off one of the Death Iron is actually an amazing wall trap that I think requires you to beat the game getting one of the 3 endings. Also going to use the Hellfire yet again because while it said there were flame spouts, as of right now they're just, you know, kind of gaseous openings in the floor. We actually need to set them off ourselves. So first things first, I'm going to try to hit both of these guys with the Punisher. And show off the amazingness of the Death Iron. Actually stretches across the entire floor unless something breaks its path. And though I know it was a bit hard to see amongst all that fire and death and mayhem, as the Death Iron stretches across, it actually leaves behind an electrical unbreakable line. It actually does quite a bit of damage. And I suppose that's why it requires you to beat the game to get. We're also going to show off probably one of the best floor traps in the game, the Delta Horse. Perfect for crushing any genitals. But what I'm actually doing here is that since we have ignited all of the flame spouts, that's actually the first step in triggering the Dark Illusion in this particular room. Now, this is actually one of the more difficult ones to set up properly, mostly due to the fact that, well, you have to lock an enemy down at the base here. Yeah, you have to lock an enemy down between those 2 posts there, and then quickly run up the stairs while also triggering something up at the top. Oh, you'll see. You will be kind of astounded at how great I am. I do feel mildly bad for Brigitte. She just wanted to test out her weapon. But after getting her electrocuted, we want to run up here to the zip line. Truly, this game shows us the true terror behind ziplining and fiery drop kicks.
カタリーナ様、
何事じゃ。
アリシア様が城内に侵入した模様です。ジョイスに乗ってる気か。直ちに城内の兵を向かわせよ。
なんとしぶといやつじゃ。もはや愚鈍な兵士どもでは話にならず。
案ずるな。ここまではたどり着けまい。
アリシア姫だ。見つけたぞ。
甘く見られたものだ。
逃がしません。
I mean, really, what is there to worry about? She's only killed like 50, 60 people in horribly gruesome ways. But we find ourselves in yet another new room. I'm wanting to say this one is one of the 2 or 3 dungeon rooms in the old mansion. It's got a few interesting traps, some of them quite difficult to actually hit people with, such as the murder roller. I think we will actually see the murder roller in use though, so something to be excited about there. But, well, we got a few tricky guys to deal with, and actually, yeah, I think the first thing we're going to actually use is the murder roller. Hopefully, though, the hellfire won't launch them into precarious of a position. Also, I was thinking maybe I might be able to hit one of them with a rolling boulder, but it doesn't actually go according to plan, and that's pretty much on par with how the hellfire works. You do want to make sure you do get out of the way of that terrifying murder roller. I mean, granted, it did murder at least one guy, but he wasn't really in control of where he was going. And where is this? Yeah, the murder roller is really odd to hit people with. Really, well, there is something especially interesting in this room, but we'll be seeing that in the next video. For right now, well, the most useful thing I would say is actually this little enclosed room off to the side here. Kind of has a very special use to it. It just requires a little bit of a setup. Mostly due in part to the fact you can't actually set up a trap inside there. So you need to figure out some specific way to set off the trigger, which is inside the trap of all places. And we also need to make sure that we have a means to actually launch people in there. And you know what, I brought my comedically powerful anime catapult with me. Yeah, I have actually no idea what the hell Irene was talking about. But yeah, the fiery furnace here is actually fairly damaging. It was just rather odd because, well, the comedically overpowered catapult there, it was kind of causing the fire not to even hit poor Irene because she just kept spinning. Always spinning.
前ももうすぐ人を信じられなくなる。
And while I do want to say that's probably the best trap in this particular room, yet again, there is a big spinning water wheel of torture there. Actually does have a very, very special use, which I think all of you will be looking forward to. But for right now, Raymond just really doesn't deserve that type of care. So I was just testing here to see how far it would launch him off. After you ricochet off of it. Because I would like to try to get a bigger combo. Also, obviously, since there is water, that means we can also electrocute him. I was kind of hoping that I would actually be able to drop the Volt Rock directly on him, but it's actually a bit hard to tell just where people are going to land sometimes. The catapult especially seems to be rather finicky with it where it will inevitably launch people. So even though it was a fiery fun time, I did kind of want to execute Raymond a little bit better.
アリシア姫。
あなた以外に生き残っている人はいないの？
わかりません。これは姫様が倒されたのですか？姫様、私はカタリーナの居場所を知っています。お願いです。仲間たちの仇を討っていただけないでしょうか。こちらです。これでいいんだろう。
ああ、ご苦労だったな。
なあ、もう行ってもいいか。申し訳ございません、姫様。なぜ
カタリーナ様にあだなす者は皆殺しだ。俺たちの部隊の底力を見せてやる。
I swear, it seems like we just cannot trust anybody that's just sitting around in our old dilapidated mansion of torturous devices. Jesus. But we don't want to actually use that particular room we started out in just yet. There is a, I mean, visually interesting room, but honestly, this room just, I don't know, doesn't really sit well with me. It's got a few interesting devices. The Aquarius statues are somewhat useful. The icicles are massively difficult to hit people with, and the Hydra statue, while it looks interesting, is actually kind of a bitch to hit people with. But that doesn't mean that we will not try and try and try. Now looking at it, it's kind of hard to tell which way it will actually attack. I'm kind of assuming that maybe if I, you know, just have someone centralized here on the platform, maybe I could hit them with that. Also kind of hoping that I can... I know it sounds weird. The Hydra statue launches a fireball forward, a kind of an elevated placement, so I'm kind of hoping that I can elevate our assassin friend here and then punch him in the face with a fireball. But yeah, that's kind of the problem. You can't really tell where the fireball goes. I guess you can, well, as you'll see here, I'm going to try it again for one thing. thinking that maybe I just need to be a little bit quicker. Or not. I'm not actually sure what they expect you to do with this particular trap. Maybe launch them with that devil's uppercut we had before, but it's really hard to say. And in all honesty, the Hydro Trap just really doesn't do that much damage. But I think we should maybe try a different trap. Or I could be stubborn and try one more time. How are you supposed to hit people with that? Kind of reminds me of the dragon statues in the throne room of the palace. It just... I could not figure out how possibly to hit people with that. But I think this time around, I do want to try to hit somebody with the icicles. It's a bit harder than it seems, mostly due to the entire perspective of it all. Also the fact that for some reason the icicles are triggered by an actual trigger, not just smacking people into it. But I did actually manage to hit Hamilton, so, you know, kudos to me. Rather oddly, though, I didn't actually expect to knock him down here. I was trying to figure out something here, but then I realized that all the water's connected, so... science. Albert, you're interrupting science. So, since Albert was enough of a jerk to interrupt science time, I think he will be our first and only victim for the Aquarius statue. As we saw before in the description, it does actually have freezing properties, which can be both a positive and a negative, mostly due to whether or not the enemies will be stupid enough to run through it. Or, in turn, if we're stupid enough to run through it. Because it actually has a fairly large and, I guess, it's just hard to tell how much of an area effect it will actually have. Deceptive. That was the word I'm thinking of. Deceptive in deception. And we finish up this chapter with a rather fun day at the water park.
Hertzog.
And with the shortest cutscene ever, we find ourselves at the end of the mission. Let's go ahead and check out the death file, see how we slaughter the innocents. Innocents. So we did murder quite a few people via fire, but more importantly, Brigitte got impaled on spikes at the end of the Devil's Trapeze. Yeah, I kind of went very overboard with the fire in this one, but you know, that oven was calling their names. But with that very long Schlotterfest done, hopefully you'll join me next time for more Trapt.